All right, welcome back to part two of this little diorama build that's Outlander themed. And if you don't know what that is, we'll kind of go over that as we go, or we'll talk about it back and forth in the chat. So if you're watching live, feel free to say hello in the chat. Use the super chat if you'd like to support me by donating. You can donate as little as $1. It also highlights your comment and give you a shout out in the video while we do this thing live. Just to get some people up to speed, if you're brand new here or you're watching this archive, go back and watch part one. That kind of tells you what we're doing here. But I'm building a little diorama that we're going to put in this little glass dome kind of display case. And it's inspired by this book series. I also have a special guest here. Got my moderator, or there we go. There's the book. This is the first book of many, and I have a special guest here. It's my moderator. It's my wife. She is a real big fan of this book series, and it's pretty good. I'm just a casual fan, but you know, we're replicating, or well, not replicating, but building a version of sort of, I call it the kind of the one of the MacGuffins in this series. It has a little bit of science fiction element here. It has to do with time travel and getting folks up to speed here. We got this little piece of foam here, and we put some plaster on it, kind of made it like a mound. And we detailed up some little trees, put some grass on it and such. And now we're going to place the stones and the trees. And I was going to say, Katie, why don't you explain maybe the sort of the significance of the stones here and what we're building.
Okay, well, in the books, this is how the characters time travel, essentially.
Think of like Bill and Ted's phone booth or Doctor Who, or it's kind of like the DeLorean, only it's kind of stationary. It's more of a portal. So anyway, go ahead.
Yeah, it takes them from one time point to another time point. They usually in the books it talks about it's usually 200 years. So that's that.
Okay.
It's how they time travel.
Yeah, actually, I'd like to know. We kind of talk about because you study up on the author a little bit, but how that kind of came about. Why the time travel? Why the stones and whatnot?
Well, okay,
I kind of figure out where we're going to put these stones.
Okay. Well, first off, I want to make sure this one goes in the middle.
That's the middle one?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Well, then I'll start there.
So if you've read anything with Diana on her websites, or even any of her forewords and anything in like the Outlandish Companion, she talks about, well, how come you chose 1945 and 1745? Why didn't you just stay in 1945?
Well, why the time travel, I guess, and then, or are you going to get to that?
Yeah, I'm going to get there, yeah.
Because honestly, that's something we've not discussed amongst ourselves.
Originally, she started out writing the book, it was the main character, Claire, and it was supposed to be set back in the 1700s. She had watched a Doctor Who episode from way back when, and it had a Scottish Highlander. That's what kind of gave her an idea for a character, and that kind of went from there. But the main character, Claire, popped up in her mind as she was writing, and I guess she wouldn't stop mouthing off or whatever and sounding modern versus something speech that you would hear from a woman in 1745. So she had to figure out how to get this modern woman back in time to go back with this 1700s Highlander. It is comment.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I don't know what you mean with your comment. Maybe, YouTube does have a filtering algorithm that kind of that's sort of automatic. So maybe it thought you were swearing or something, because I don't see it here. Try your comment again. Maybe it's just a glitch or something. But anyway, go ahead there, Katie, because I guess, like I said, we kind of discussed some of the plot points.
It's basically she ended up with this modern character that needed to somehow go back in time to fit in with this other character, this 1700s Scottish warrior. So she had to figure out a way.
Well,
and there's a lot of lore around all these Stonehenges that you can find all over Britain and Europe and Ireland, Scotland, all those different places. So.
Well, why Scotland or Scottish character? Was that part of the
that was because
the Who?
Yeah, the Doctor Who.
Okay.
Yeah. Yep. And also there's a lot of history at 1745 there was the Jacobite uprising, so there's a lot of.
Better go into that for Jason's got something that's just like Stonehenge, so
it's a version of Stonehenge. So in Britain there's the Salisbury Plain where they act like the big Stonehenge, the iconic one is at, that everyone recognizes. Well, all over Europe, there's various smaller ones, and some, different parts of Europe. I guess you can find them in.
These maybe are less sophisticated if you ever Google it.
Yeah.
Whereas the real Stonehenge makes it things look more deliberately placed. Where these seem random, but yet they're rocks that
they were placed there by
obviously placed, but not.
So so essentially, it is kind of like a Stonehenge, but not the Stonehenge that we think of.
Well, that's a good, huh?
Is that gonna hold it?
Yeah, those are hold it.
Okay.
I guess the other thing, was I always kind of wondered. Obviously, this MacGuffin or this plot device to get the characters around. Obviously, not only Europe, but there's around the world as kind of a portal. And I've heard that's like a video game, so I don't know. I don't know if that has any inspiration. Well, not for the books, but I wonder if the.
So we make that more of them stand. Make sure they're standing up.
Well, that's not a standing up one.
Okay.
Well. Well, do you want it to stand up? I can't. Well, let's not put.
Okay.
Well, they're kind of too tall, but. Well, some of them are laying down because they fell.
The smaller ones are falling over, but the big tall ones are standing up.
Okay, well, we'll put a pointy one.
That's like my favorite one, so don't screw that one up.
Okay, well.
Yeah.
All right, that'll do it. Okay.
Is it gonna stay?
But also like any good time travel MacGuffin, they try and alter time. Only unlike Back to the Future and stuff, nobody ceases to exist in the future.
Yeah. That we know of.
Well, yeah. But the time travel is linear, so it's it's not like, oh, I can just set my thing to go back to 1885, or whatever. it's if you age 20 years from 1945,
you're gonna age.
You're gonna age 20 years when you go back in time. So
And it's not like these people are hopping back and forth like all the time. The way the book describes it, it's like very traumatic to go through the time travel. So they don't do it all that often, as like with like the DeLorean or like Bill and Ted's phone booth. It's not just instant. You just go. It's centered around certain events around this. Like the next one coming up would be Beltane. I believe is that what All Hallows Eve, Beltane or whatever, I guess. But that's like the next big one. Like supposedly when the quote air quote portals are open for the people that have this trait that can go through.
Yeah, not everybody can time travel.
Yeah, not everybody that can try time travel. Sometimes they end up like they'll try and they end up dead. But certain characters can time travel due to her theory of time travel, which is based on genetics. It's a genetic trait.
It's a little bit like how they ruined Star Wars and the Force, but this is different.
I
Um,
guess, yeah.
all right, I feel we need one over here.
Yeah. I broke off some of those little ones. No. Maybe this
Well, I
little
don't know.
guy too.
Okay, 'cause I feel we just need some smaller ones because it needs to be a little more randomized. And then we'll get the trees in here. I want them to look a little random.
So definitely pagan inspired. Around like there are elements to it, like that's where the lore of the time travel of the Stonehenge comes from, that it's got these mythical properties to it. That's kind of where the pagan part comes in. I mean, there's so much to these books that it's hard to
Yeah, I
describe
mean
it all.
we're talking about because that's what
I
I
mean,
like about it is some of the
each book
history
is
and
easily, you know, easily 900 pages, if not more. Very, so it's so much detail to be able to describe it all and put it into words like for other people so that they can understand it.
well, I like because there's a lot of little humor. It's humorous. I mean, you do have a little bit of the fish out of water uh, type of stuff. Um, as far as
Modern woman trying
modern
to
woman and
be.
all, and then of course modern, you could argue liberated woman. So I am woman, hear me roar, in a time when women get back in the kitchen, kind of ideas.
That's Semaine. That's what I was thinking of. I couldn't
Shoot.
remember what it was. I can never keep the two straight. Beltane is in the spring or like early to mid spring, somewhere around there.
Just wish this glue would dry a little quicker.
You need to blow dry it.
Well, it'll dry. It's just we probably could have placed the rocks beforehand, but I kind of wanted them. I didn't want to have to work
No,
around.
definitely not light reading. That's
No,
for sure.
and like book on tape is how I
Like we can listen to, like usually when we listen to the book on tape, we listen to it like on like a 6-hour car ride, and we can knock out a good 4 hours of listening to it and not be done with the book.
Yeah, and mind you, we're doing it on a car ride through areas where there's just no radio, or internet even. So if you were, you think, well, why don't you just stream something? Well, that doesn't,
That's not an option.
That's not an option either. Okay, yeah, I'm gonna kind of like the placement of that stuff. We'll put them asymmetrical. So
there's a couple other really little ones you could maybe sprinkle in there.
Okay. Yeah, let's.
Like these are just real little, just for some randomization.
Yeah, that's true. We need a little bit of that.
There's another little piece.
Okay, I'm gonna put this one here.
You should have went out and like broke the other one of these up.
Yeah, no, that's all right. Well, I like it. I want too much.
Another piece.
There's also things like, of course, she comes from modern times, so she knows about modern medicine. Of course, she was an army doctor.
Yeah, she was a combat nurse in World War II.
Yeah.
So she's got these nursing skills that she
and of course they think she's kind of almost witch-like because
she gets put on trial as a witch.
Yeah, but even when it's not.
When it's
going down that road, people think she must be magical because all of a sudden she makes them eat an orange and their scurvy goes away, kind of idea,
Yeah.
Different things like that, kind of home remedy. A lot of it's home remedy. Home remedy stuff, and willow bark, making your own aspirin essentially, and for basic pain relief and whatnot. Forms, there's some.
Well, just hygiene.
Well, that too,
Just
you know,
simple hygiene
and
and
just
sanitization.
sanitization of, you know, she's got to cut you open a little bit to take something out, you know, out of you, a bullet or whatever.
The whiskey comes in handy for sterilization.
Yeah, I mean that seems fairly obvious, but
It sounds like there's a lot of different things that inspired the storyline. Yeah, she had a lot of, like, let's just say there's so much going on in these books, but it all kind of, the way she writes, it just seamlessly flows together perfectly.
yeah, it's not. That's
it's
one.
not all herky jerky chopped up. It just,
and it's not too contrived.
she's
I mean,
got it blended just perfectly.
Well, that's one thing. Like I skeptical. Like we got into last stream we got into conversations, you know, about TV and reality TV a little bit because, like I said, this is a TV show too. But that dang rock doesn't want to stay there. But you know, like reality TV, you know, just and TV in general seems a little contrived, you know, and all that. And that's one thing, a big thing, like that was kind of like, well, I'll give it a try, um, uh, because it's like, well, maybe these, you know, certain aspects of it are, well, contrived, you know, convenient. Oh, there just happened to be a so and so right here, and you know, and that helped him out of the situation. Well, not so much
not really
here.
much. No.
Not much of this. It's doesn't do a lot of that. Not a lot of, oh, conveniently this person showed up.
Yeah.
You know, there's a reason the characters are where they are when they are. You know.
Yeah, but she's
unlike other writers and things. Not being familiar with Game of Thrones, I can't compare that, but you know, given what little I know about that TV show, not the books, where did my hole go? You know, the laziness of the last season, for example. Well, that doesn't happen in this book series, so you know.
Yeah, she's been able to keep them all together so far, I would say. And there's also spin-offs too of other. Well, I wouldn't say they're minor characters, but they definitely have an important role or a lasting impression on readers. So she's had like the Lord John series,
which is a character that shows up later in a different book, and then he gets his own little side story. That's you could argue that's a little bit like how they ended up doing Star Wars with these little side stories or other stories in between stories. His are a little bit like that. You get to, it's just more character development.
Yeah. Well, and then she also throws in just little nuggets of information here and there that pertain back to the main story and to the main characters, and it's like, oh, so that's how that happened, or oh, that's what's gonna happen, you know, when so and so does this later on down the road. It's like I said, she just seamlessly merges all of these stories together. I don't know how she keeps it straight. There's so much going on. And like, I don't know how that woman sleeps. And what's as much information as there is going on in these books, and the character development and the plot points and everything, I don't know how she sleeps.
The other thing is we've, and not like we're special or anything because we went to a book signing, but you know, got to, you know, meet her briefly and get a signature and whatever, and I tell you, fans of the book series, they're kind of what you would expect, but and I, of course, have not met a lot of, you know, they kind of say don't meet your heroes kind of thing, but very more down to earth and stuff. And you know, it's funny when you think about this. I think we're.
Her name is Diana Gabaldon. Since Jason is asking.
Yeah, that one's just gonna have to lean. That's a little. Okay, we gotta. Just gotta see how this looks. Okay, this is gonna actually sit on a display shelf, so that's kind of what it's gonna look like. But we need to
Need some shrubbery.
Well, we'll get that on. We need to paint the other part. But yeah,
We
you're
put our blue flowers.
right.
Our
And
forget-me-nots, which is a key thing in the story.
I don't know, is that by the middle one, kinda?
That's
Or
how I picture it. It's in the middle
okay.
one, yeah.
Well, we have sort of blue here, close enough.
Yeah.
I am going to
Trim some tiny blue flowers.
because
I need to upgrade your shop scissors.
yeah. See, these are gonna have to just be very light cut. There we go, and
You pull them.
no, I have to. Shoot. I'm gonna have to do it like this. If I even can. Damn it, it flew off.
So tiny.
Yeah, I know.
You glue them together and then stick them down.
Well,
You need a magnifying glass.
I do have my other one. It's in the other.
That's right. It's on the shed.
It's out in the other shed. Guess it's okay if they kind of fall over. It's just as long as we can just get the color in there. That's well, that one fell off, but let's I know. Let's see if I can just do. Nope. I gotta cut them.
Technical difficulties here, folks.
But anyway, Sony Pictures picked this up, or well, Stars, I guess, but Sony owes that.
Yeah.
Picked it up for TV, and overall, it's a very good TV show. It's directed and adapted by Ronald Moore, which he's best known. There we go. Best known for directing the original Battlestar Galactica, maybe the newer, the 2000s reboot of it. I know it's coming out again. I'm not really a huge fan of that, but I mean, I know it's pretty critically acclaimed amongst nerds and stuff, as a good another kind of alternate to a kind of like, well, it's not Star Trek, but I guess you could argue in the same vein. But anyway, he does it, the book justice. I'm gonna put one more in there. We don't need that many, but we just need one more of these things to make it look a little more.
So you can just kind of see that there's some blue.
Yeah. But yeah, did I feel it's well adapted, given there's so much detail, so much character development in the book. Just something that's like you're just not. That's almost impossible to do in TV or even movie form. Because you just and granted, it's no commercials. It's a Stars type of thing, but you even then, a full hour, you just still don't have enough time to get everything in there.
But I'm glad they went the route of TV series versus a movie, or like a 3-part movie type thing. I feel like that no way would have done it justice, versus I feel like a TV series is the best that they could probably do, given how in depth these books are. Is that the shrubbery?
Yep. 2 shrubberies with a path in the middle.
You're a nerd. Well, then you like the guy that does the music too. He's
Well, yeah, it's just kind of interesting because he's kind of a more of an indie kind of guy and does the music and sound. And a fun fact is he did the music on
the Angry Video
the
Game Nerd, the movie,
yeah
the AVGN movie.
yeah from James
James Rolfe.
Rolfe,
Yeah.
and it's like that's the furthest away from.
Like you don't think Scottish Highlands, and then you think the Angry Video Game Nerd.
Yeah, with
But I guess he's a fan of James, so.
yeah, which that's a
And that movie's got the music is good in that, so.
yeah, and the sound design
Yeah.
and stuff. So it's and we'll put some back here too. We need a little more.
Yeah, you need a lot more.
Well, I don't want to. I just want to get the. I just want the gist of it because, like I said, I want to detract too much from the stones. I don't want to hide them too much either. We'll have to take some good beauty shots and.
I feel like, and then we need to like have it like all misty and foggy and.
Well, I thought of that. It could pull
like,
out.
can we like?
Do you have some? Well, no. We could use polyfiber. Don't we have some? Batting.
Yeah, somewhere.
Because we could string it out, string it through there. That's the one way I know of could make kind of a mist in here. But enough about this. I mean, I don't know how many people do we have in here watching right now. Maybe we don't have enough to do this. But okay, we got about 5 people. Okay. I'd be appreciative if some other folks join in here. But I want to ask a question to the viewers, the chat. And it doesn't have to be something like this. But what kind of alternate shows or TV shows, are some people interested in out there? I mean, and I'm talking just about anything, but I'm not talking, like network TV, but cable series, Netflix series, YouTube series for that matter. I'd be a little curious because, and it doesn't.
We're always looking for something good to watch.
Yeah, and it doesn't have to be, fantasy or anything like that. For example, of course, I'm a nerd, but I really like I kind of like a lot of sciencey stuff, so I kind of gravitate to that kind of stuff. But I do like I like stuff that's a little more grounded in reality. I guess that's why this is interesting. That I like it. It's enough reality with enough fiction that.
It's not Dungeons and Dragons fantasy. It's just historical fiction with a sci-fi aspect to it in the time travel aspect.
Yeah. Put one right there, just off to the side. Nothing big.
A happy little tree.
It's a happy little bush. Happy little, bush. This is just using our foam. There. I don't know. I feel if I go too much, we might be too far. I do have that yellow stuff, but there's really not that kind of.
Do we need to make it look like there's like kind of a path?
Well, I don't know.
There? Like you can kind of see like where they've walked, or where the grass has grown as much.
Well, I don't know. It's not crushed. Well, I got actual dirt we could. You want to do?
I think just a little bit. You know how
right.
What's his butt does?
Well,
yellow ochre that he brushes on there for his wheel tracks.
Yeah. I'm not gonna. I don't have that, but I got a little bit of dirt we can do, and I'll.
Just around the stone, kind of where.
Well, I can't.
Just a tiny bit.
So in front of it, we'll just do a little bit in front of it Just put just the teensiest bit of glue.
The Boys. Unfortunately, only one season so far. Where's that on? Is that like a Netflix thing or Amazon Prime? Where Hulu? I don't think I've heard of them. Have you heard that? The
No,
Boys?
I haven't. I mean, since we're on YouTube, let's maybe keep it a little more focused. What are some other channels, more professional channels? Obviously, I'm not a professional here. I'm amazed that I have any viewers at all. I'll blow it away here.
Yeah.
Stick. But what kind of YouTube channels like?
Okay, that's a Netflix show. Okay.
Okay. I don't do Netflix, but you know they do fund some interesting stuff.
I guess Outlander is up on Netflix right now, so you could go watch it there.
Just gives it a little color variation. I am liking that. I'm saying we're about. I'm gonna call it about done. Let me get a. Yeah, there we go. Let me get the paintbrush out. We'll do the. I'm thinking we'll do the base. We'll do that gray, and then we'll.
Yeah, I think that'll work.
And then we'll plop it down on the base. So.
And it'll be ready for my bookshelf.
Yeah, it'll go on our shelf and.
My Outlander shelf. All my Outlander stuff has a shelf. Actually, it's delved into 3 shelves now. And then my stuff by my other authors that I really like, the Gears, Kathy and Mike. Their stuff also has
Yeah, and
2
those
shelves.
and those
also.
are some authors that
Those are some other authors that
we've met personally. They
Yeah,
actually ride motorcycles and stuff too, and they live actually not
Oh,
too.
it's an Amazon video. Okay, well we'll have to maybe look for that one then.
Okay. Give us a quick synopsis. What is it about?
What's the rundown?
Kind of gangster or mob type. I mean, I'm just thinking The Boys, what that could be. Like crime syndicate kind of thing, or am I way off base in getting too creative with the name?
I guess some of the stuff that you like to watch on YouTube that's kind of sciencey is Veritasium.
Well, yeah, Veritasium. I mean Vsauce, of course.
Yeah, Vsauce.
But who does?
Smarter Every Day. We really like Smarter Every Day.
Yeah, Destin.
Yeah, his stuff's good.
Yeah, and actually, one thing I know you don't like, but I do watch, is Matt Parker. But his channel is called Stand Up Maths, and it's a math centered show. He travels around the world doing talks about math and stuff, but he's also a comedian.
Superheroes are not what they seem, and normal people find it interesting.
Okay, so basic. Oh, okay, yeah,
the not superhero video show.
So is it kind of a anti-superhero kind of idea? Because I'm generally not a fan of superhero stuff, but I'm not a hater. Like a lot of it is just not me.
This doesn't pique our interest.
I'm
trying to think of what I've watched on YouTube lately that's not Thomas the Train or construction trucks. That's usually what all my YouTube watching is anymore, is stuff for the toddler.
Well, and then farming videos,
Yeah, farming videos,
which are usually my farming videos because
trains.
he likes to watch me because there's some old stuff of me, but also there's of his grandpa, my dad. I don't know. I like independent
I
creators.
watch more stuff on Amazon Prime, if anything.
Yeah. All right. I think I'm gonna just use this glue to put it down. This should be good enough. Yeah, I think we're.
Need some fairy twinkle lights in
Yeah.
there. I don't think they make them small enough.
No. Well, they do. Like actually those little 1mm LEDs, but that should be enough glue.
Oh no, they're superheroes, but they're not nice. It's kind of like it shows their real sides, not in the public eye.
Okay. So like. Okay.
So how they can be a jerk in real life?
Or more like, God, I
Like
gotta go
not
save you.
in their public eye. Okay. Like I gotta go save that idiot cat out of the tree again.
Or the anti-Lois Lane. Yeah, she keeps getting captured.
It's kind of like Claire.
Yeah, okay.
That does bug you.
Yeah, I mean,
well, that delves back to the modern woman put back in the past and her ideas clashing
you
with
know what?
the social
I'll tell you what.
norms.
She can be a little bit like Peach in the Mario world, as she keeps getting caught by the villain. You know, even though she knows time and time again.
Well, and it's not just her; it's
Well,
some
there's
of the
other
other characters.
yeah.
It's like kind of like the scary movie. Don't open the door.
And this guy right here is always he's getting beat up, whipped and cut and shot at and everything, all for this woman, you know. Oh, it's dry enough. Okay, well, yeah. There we go. I know this isn't that
fancy,
and I know it's not. This isn't something super mainstream, or as jaw dropping maybe as some of my other work has been. But I like it. It's it's just what I wanted. Really, I wanted to make it. It's kind of this little team build for I guess, and for my wife here, just because I know she likes it, and like I said, I enjoy it too, but I mostly wanted to make it for her because it's like it combines two things I like, you know. Also, we'll take some good beauty shots. I'll put it up on my website. Of course, she can then share it around.
I'll display it on my bookshelf. You can see my bookshelf.
Yeah, and then she gets to share it online to all her
book groups,
reading groups, and
okay.
All right. Well, that's interesting.
Okay, that's different.
You know, that's
a different take on the whole superhero thing.
You know, almost like a little bit like Deadpool in a way.
Hey, Kevin just joined in. Hey.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you're almost late because we're pretty much finished up. Here's what it looks like. Is what it'll look like on the shelf, but I'll take this off, and then you can kind of see what we did. We went into explanation, you can watch later, of the hows and whys and what really it is, but let's see if there we go. There we go. So we got the stones and everything, and so now our little pretend people, they can go up there and they can time travel through it. So again, this is kind of a representation of how it shows up, at least in my mind, kind of.
Well, that's the joke in a lot of book groups, is anyone that goes near any type of standing stone circle is don't touch the stones. You might go back in time. Or some women purposely try to touch the stone to go find their Jamie.
Yeah. But yeah, anyway, I mean, it wasn't that, but I like it. I like it. I like the scale of it. It definitely, even these store bought trees, I like. They turned out a lot better than I thought. As far as I thought it was going to look a little, little wonky, but no. And like I said, this is something. Uh, like I said, I wanted to build for Katie here. Just because, like I said, it's something she's into, and like I said, it lets me out output some of my creative Jones a little bit. But uh, yeah, I mean, I know this is very odd for my type of channel content. People are clamoring for more like how-to motorcycle, toy restoration, all that kind of stuff, Hot Wheels, whatever. But my channel has always been, and
Well,
as we wrap it
eclectic.
up, it's always been pretty eclectic. It's I like to just share my interests and kind of what I'm doing within reason, and this is just kind of one of them. Um,
I'm gonna turn.
yeah, there you go. Turn it there. Um, you know, so and I know actually these videos do this kind of content. These videos do very poorly. So I mean, it's this may crack the 150 view mark, which is nothing. Um, but there's I just hope you know you get a little bit of entertainment. Maybe you learn something. Maybe it inspires you to to try something similar, or take an idea like, well, you know what? I'd like to build a little something. I'm into something and make a miniature of it, or something. And it's just, I don't know. I like working with my hands. It's kind of, we were talking about this last night. I I I saw what this I can I before we started, I saw what this looked like in my head. Um, I,
I
I
just make it up as I go.
I mean, there's a
Our brains
little
work totally
there's
different.
a little bit of it, but I saw it like this, um, almost down to the exact placement of the rocks, just about, you know.
No, I make it up as I go, and
Also, I like to show that you can
it
watch.
makes for home improvement projects to be interesting, to put it that way.
Well, yeah,
He sees the final result already, and I'm like, "Where's the hammer?"
yeah. I mean, because I designed it. Well, I mean, Katie was a big help in that too, because it's definitely a two-portion job. But and also she kind of helped with the design along the way as far as how it looks and
The
stuff. But
aesthetics.
our gazebo is kind of among one of the many kind of home improvement projects that I didn't download any plans. I rudimentarily made some measurements just to be like, well, I have this space. What can I fit in there in the yard? And I saw the completed structure, um, what I was going to do. I mean, yes, had to improvise, but um, I was, I don't know. It's weird. It just comes easy to me. I could see the finished project. I could see exactly what things I was going to need to do when, um, really without any sort of plans, or like on paper, or I didn't do anything in like SketchUp ahead of time. I mean, I probably could do even better stuff if I had really utilized tools like that, but I just kind of hold it in my head. It's a blessing and a curse, because my mind's always thinking about something, thinking about how I'm going to do something, how I'm going each step. I knew how to get it there, and like I said, that gazebo was, um, a fun project. But yeah, for Katie, it was very difficult because I
I
kept
didn't see the final
because I
project.
kept I
I
kept
just
when we're like saying,
like
doing the
it's like, okay, I know
stringers.
there's a floor here and joists that go here.
Yeah, but then it was also, well, we have to do these angles and stuff, and I uh, I already knew what angles I needed without really having to measure them. uh, yeah,
That's
and
interesting.
that's the same thing, like in my motorcycles too. But when it comes to a little more abstract stuff like this, I can see how some people, and I'm not unique. There's other people like this, and that's I watch them on YouTube. That's why I know. But it's like for the average person, I think it's a little bit hard for me to find folks that can understand it. Um, and
But then he doesn't understand how to bake, though.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. I can cook, but I can't bake. And like making a cake, I really, I really don't fully grasp how eggs, flour, water, oil, how so few things can make a spongy chocolate, spongy
It's
chocolatey
chemistry.
spongy chocolatey
It's a form
goodness
of
for me.
chemistry.
It is, and that's
Which
also
is why I don't quite understand how you don't get it, because your mind does think kind of
well,
scientifically
but
like that.
if you eat one of those things on its own, it all tastes like crap. But
Well, sugar
but
doesn't taste like crap.
well, it's crap. But you know, like if I'm making a casserole stuff. It's like, well, okay, the ground beef, it tastes good once you cook it. It tastes good, and this spice, you know what, I know what that tastes like. Uh, a raw egg. How does that? Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I know it's chemistry, and I know the egg's the binder and things like that, but um, I don't know. It's just different to me.
I think how the instructions are usually laid out throw you off as
Oh
well.
yeah,
You
well,
don't like that they list all the ingredients first and
just
then delve into the
if
steps.
the recipe should read like a repair manual. You don't. I mean,
You gather all of your tools before you start working,
yeah,
usually,
but see, a
right?
repair manual doesn't tell you. It usually doesn't tell you you're going to need all these tools. What it does is it say take this bolt off first. It may tell you which size of wrench. If it does, it tells you get this wrench, get that
But
wrench,
you
do
know
this
you're going to
wrench,
need a
pull this
wrench, a
off, do that off.
screwdriver.
You know, um, whereas a recipe tells you all this stuff, but it's like, okay, I have all this sitting here, but then I need to know what. It doesn't easily tell me what order just by looking at it. Like recipes seem too simple, but anyway, we're getting way off topic here, which is okay. But hopefully you like this. I think we're gonna call it a stream, and I don't know when the next time I'm gonna live stream. Maybe if I have some other project. I've thought about. I guess since I got a few of you talking in here in the chat before I
Anybody
go,
got any ideas?
yeah. It's like I don't know. Would they
That's
would
not
would
focusing.
yeah would folks enjoy like if I just did kind of more of a hangout stream, but have a topic, but it be more um, just talking, not doing anything. I don't know.
Tangent. He is the king of tangents.
Yeah, yeah. So I don't know. Leave a comment down there, or leave a comment on a community post or something. But because I got some video ideas, I got actually one partially edited. I got some other stuff filmed. It's just I gotta find time to get her done um, and get it out here. I do want to do kind of more of a historical video on on one of my motorcycles. Kind of do a I kind of got inspired from a totally different channel that sort of does the same thing, only like with say like vintage computers or companies and their history. I want to do this on a specific model of bike, kind of research and development stuff. So it'd be more of a narrative type video. Um, so that's kind of what I'm kind of working on. I'd like to,
You definitely won't see me on that one.
yeah. But I thought about doing kind of more podcasty type of live streams just during the week. Kind of try to get a schedule going. Um, just to I guess keep my channel in the public view. It's good for the algorithm, but also I don't want to just put out just content for nothing. I want to have something I'm doing. So I don't know. Maybe I'll come up with another little diorama thing. I do have another little idea for sort of diorama, but kind of a diorama that could be a toy for like my son maybe. I got a kind of idea. I got to think it through a little bit, but maybe that's one I'll live stream too, because making a separate video on it probably not going to be go over too well. Worth the time and effort to edit it, you know. But anyway, I think I'm done here, and paint's drying on this. We're gonna go put it on the shelf. I will make a blog posting on my website sometime here in the very near future. So you can always check back. And you know what? I'll do a community post with the link, so you guys that follow me kind of can see that, and we'll show it sitting on the shelf with our other little memorabilia stuff, so you can see like better high quality photos, because obviously my camera and the lighting is not the greatest on this. So, all right, appreciate you guys watching. I think I will call this a stream. So. Junkman signing out, and my special guest here. Thanks for joining me.
Thanks.
Yep. All right.
Bye.